Hi, I'm Peter McBride and I'm here to do an In the Bag. So I think we're going to start off with some putters. What I am putting with is Mercies. I like the Zero Hard because most of the time I play in hotter weather, so I like my discs to be nice and stiff but grippy, which this plastic's a perfect putting plastic for me. Especially once they get a little seasoned, they're nice and tacky, and I know they're going to float. I like these putters because they're pretty low profile, but they still have plenty of glide and a consistent hyzer at the end. And you got a bag two if you're playing a tournament because you never know when you're going to get a big chunk or lose one in the water, so you got to have two of them. And then I also have the same one, just a pink one for throwing. I like a pretty flippy throwing putter. I like to kind of just stand at it and play catch with it anytime I'm inside of 150. So this one's fairly understable. I can do like touch sidearms if I need or get out of trouble anhyzers, but this is definitely a staple in my bag, one of my strong points. And then to some throwing putters, I throw the Mercy up to 200 feet, so that's kind of my throwing putter, but more power throwing putter, I like the Seric. It's pretty neutral. It starts off, I can throw it flat and it wants to fight out of it pretty good, but this one's starting to beat in. I can have it almost finish straight for me, which is one of my favorite shots. It'll hold an ante or hold a hyzer for me. It's a nice disc. It actually has a surprising amount of skip once it hits the ground, so just got to make sure you set it down before the basket. But this is one of my favorite putters to throw. And then I have a BT Hard HARP, which is it's actually beating in pretty nicely. I can throw it hard and flat, and it'll ride straight for a while and then hyzer out, which is a really nice shot to have. It's kind of right in between a putter and a mid-range for me. And if I want to throw it on a hyzer, it'll hold the hyzer for a long time, or a great sidearm get out of trouble. This is definitely a good utility disc. And since it's a more base plastic, it'll beat in nicely, which I like that out of a disc to have it a usable lifetime. Starts off stable, finishes understable. So this hard harp is definitely a staple in my bag. And then to mid-ranges, I have 3 anchors. It's my overstable to straight. I have a Goldline one that's pretty overstable, but I'm starting to be able to flip it up to straight for a while, but I can still trust it on most hyzers. And then I have a lighter weight one. Shout out to Paige's trophy disc. But this one's a 171, so it's still pretty stable, but it'll wants to stay in the air. And once I beat it in, it'll be a really nice throw hard and go straight. But for now, it's kind of just a glidey, overstable disc. And then I have a retro anchor, which this one is about a month and a half of use, and I can throw it hard and flat, and it wants to anhyzer just a tiny bit and then come out. So with a touch of hyzer, it'll pop up to flat, which is really useful on a course like out here at Waco. But this one, I like how they season in, and this plastic is nice and grippy. And then on to EMAC Truths. I have 2 of them. I have just a normal LUCID, this is my pretty understable one. I really like this one. I don't know if you can tell it's got a little burst in it in the right light, but it's got a slight dome to it as well. This one is my hyzer flip to anhyzer, get out of trouble, standstill shot. I sometimes throw it for patent pending if I need to get around a tree. This is my workhorse flippy one in the woods. And then I have a Team DD Moonshine one, which is a little more stable. I can throw it with a touch of hyzer and it'll pop up to flat and ride, or it'll hold a hyzer if I put enough hyzer on it. But this is a nice neutral mid-range for me. And then onto fairway drivers. I'm rocking 2 Explorers, 2 prototype Explorers. Both of these, the white one's a 171, so this one is surprisingly understable for me. I can throw it flat and it'll turn over and hold pretty much till the end of the flight. So if I need to choke down on it, I'll throw it with a little more hyzer and a little less power and it'll get up to flat. Or I'm really liking this for big, wide anhyzers that just won't come out. And then here's a red one that's max weight, and It is definitely a very important disc in my bag because if I can throw it with a touch of hyzer, it'll pop up to flat and it wants to really stay in the air. These discs don't really hyzer out hard. When they hyzer, they kind of just glide. So it's a very useful disc for in the woods or just shaping shots for in the fairway. And then on to kind of faster fairway drivers, I am throwing 2 FELONs. One BIOFUZION, which I'm trying to beat in. I lost its twin that was a little beat in at Memorial. So trying to beat this one in. I like it for touch sidearm shots or backhand shots where I need to S-turn around things. And then I have a beat in LUCID one that is a little less stable than this out of the box just because I've had it in the bag for two and a half months. But this is a workhorse out here. I love it for sidearms. I like it for backhands. I can really get a full flex out of it and get it out there or throw it on hyzer and it'll hold it. This is a very useful disc. And then I kind of have an overlap, but it's definitely another useful disc, the Longbowman. It's a similar stability brand out of the box as the FELON, at least my beat-in FELONs, but it kind of wants to stay in the air a little longer. So I like this for straighter sidearms. I can pop it up and it won't quite finish as hard as the FELON, which is nice for in the woods if you need to keep it on the fairway. Or backhand, I can kind of force it over a little and it'll have a come out of it hard, but nice and usable. Really, I think I'm gonna use this a lot for sidearm out of the woods shots. And then on to actually one more fairway, a CONVICT. It's kind of a lot like what my beat-in FELON is, but a little more glide, so I can use it for more anhyzer shots. I actually roll this one a lot since it's a pretty good profile. It likes to stay in the air, kind of force it down and then, or stay on the ground, I mean. Likes to force it down and then boom, 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 just rides along. But this is a very usable disc, a good sidearm. It'll flip up and hold for a while, or hyzer flip sidearm. Same thing with backhand. Really like this disc. And then, oh yeah, one more fairway. A Bio Criminal. This one is a lighter weight one, a 171, I believe, yep. And I can throw it nice and hard and it doesn't even think about turning over, but it will ride straight for a while. The Criminals are a little deeper than the FELONs, so they kind of want to stay in the air even though they're nice and overstable. So this is a great placement shot in the wind, a trick shot disc if you need to get out of trouble. But the BIOFUZION plastic is awesome. It's nice and grippy, but it beats in a little quicker, which is kind of nice if you want something overstable to beat into straight. And then on to enforcers. On a course like this out at Waco, I don't bag that many, but on a more open course, I'll probably throw in 1 or 2 more enforcers. I have a BIOFUZION that is my sidearm staple. Since my sidearm is a little weaker than my backhand, this will pop up to flat for me. Or this is a good backhand roller if I need, or just get out of trouble, flippy backhand. This is a little too flippy for max distance in the open, unless I have a lot of room to work with and don't need to be that accurate. But for my max distance, semi-overstable, I got a LUCID one that has, it's pretty stiff and it's got some shoulders, which means it's a little more overstable. But it's nice and it's starting to beat in for me. I can throw it hard and flat and it won't really turn either way. And I like these enforcers compared to the defenders because they won't finish as hard. Where if you're trying to be accurate in the woods, the defenders will kind of want to stay in the air and keep pushing left, which isn't a bad thing. You just got to be aware of it. So this enforcer is a very shapeable disc. And then I have two more drivers, 2 defenders. I have a BIOFUZION one that I'm only sidearming. It's pretty overstable for my sidearm, but I can pop it up, and if it's in a headwind, I can really trust it. So this is a sidearm only, trying to beat it in and not beat it in. If I throw a backhand too, I'll beat it in too quick, so I want to know the full lifespan as a sidearm. And then a LUCID Defender, which I wasn't sure I'd like these at first, but the more I throw them, the more I like them, especially if you have open space, because you can, as long as you hang them out wide enough, as they hyzer, they kind of want to stay in the air instead of kind of dropping out like the enforcers. That extra speed and extra width of the rim they'll keep pushing forward as they hyzer, which is really nice for windy shots or when you need to get around stuff near the end of the flight. But I'm trusting this a lot more than I thought I would. It's nice, starts off nice and overstable. I can throw it into a headwind, but I'm starting to beat it in where I can just get it up to flat and it'll ride a then hyzer out, which I really like. I like to, if you haven't noticed, most of my discs are overstable, and I like to beat them into straight, which since I play so much, it's a lot. I can trust them a lot more if I have thrown them for 2 months instead of buying something that that is that flippy already. I can have the whole lifespan of the disc and really trust it. But that's pretty much it. I rocking the Ranger bag. I got some towels just in case, some water. Definitely got to have snacks and some minis. Oh, and some pencils. Definitely a good thing to have, but that's pretty much it for my in the bag. Thanks for watching.